Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the IBDC Seminar Series 2026. Today, we will introducing BioNode, which is a unified analysis platform for genomics and structural biology data.
Here is a few instructions for the webinar. So please remain muted unless you are invited to speak by the moderator. And please use Q&A for raising any question during the presentation. Please use the hand raising function if you want to contribute directly. Also, please use chat for any comment and discussion. This is to inform you that this webinar will be recorded and the recording will be available on IBDC YouTube channel and also on the website. As you all know that we are providing the feedback and certificate for all the users. So by tomorrow, the feedback form along with the download certificate link will be shared to all the attendees who will attend this webinar. So you can also watch our previous webinar series on the IBDC YouTube channel, and also the details are available on the website. So for today's webinar, we will again start with a little bit introduction about IBDC as for those who are joining us for the first time. And then we will go ahead with the introduction of the BioNode. Why BioNode? What exactly is the BioNode platform and why it is important? And what exactly the structural division of this platform, along with the future roadmaps. And then we go ahead with the Q&A and discussion. So for both the sections, we have demonstration session also. So to start with the overview of the IBDC, as you all know that IBDC is the National Life Science Data Repository of India, and it is supported by the Government of India through the Department of Biotechnology. And we are situated at RCB Faridabad. So IBDC enables the implementation of Biotech Pride guidelines, and it's a joint project of RCB, NII, ICGB, and NIC. So this is just to show you the location of IBDC. We are located at the NCR Biotech cluster of Faridabad, along with THSTI and RCB. And in 2022, our Honorable Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Jitendra Singh, dedicated this facility to India. And as you can see here, because we are the National Repository for Biological Data, it's important for us that we have secure framework. So we have a data backup site, or you can say disaster recovery site at NIC Bhubaneswar, where all the data is synced in real time. So basically the infrastructure, we have Brahm High Computing Facility at IBDC, which is used for data archival. And also this facility is having a capacity of 5.5 petabytes and a computing power of around 961 teraflops. It is also shared by 164 users from different institutions for carrying out their high throughput data analysis work. So the mission behind IBDC, or you can say behind the genesis of IBDC, is that till now we don't have a secure or an infrastructure for the biological data archival in our country, and we always depend on the other international repositories like NCBI, ENA, and other repositories. So this is an important step where all the data which is generated in the India across different domains and different laboratories will be synced in a data specific repositories to IBDC, and IBDC enables the data deposition through standardized submission, and it will provide secure archival long-term preservation. And also we enable that all the metadata should be fair with identifiers, interoperability, and other things, so that this will enable the agriculture innovation, faster evidence-based diagnostic, livestock and human health productivity, and precision and personalized therapeutics. So what exactly we do? Our main focus is towards the archival of data resources through different data resources. Then we also provide high computational facility to research community. We also support national importance projects of India. We do data analytics for in-house as well as for some other specific projects. We develop different user resources and documentations which are required by users while submitting their data, and also other documentation required by the users. We also provide training, conferences, and workshops to all the research community. So as you can see that data alone is not sufficient. So all the different databases that we have is again accompanied with standard metadata formats, and we follow the Biotech Pride guidelines and feed protocols for the data exchange. And we offer open, managed, and no access mode depending upon how the project is and what exactly is the user requirement. So this is just to show you that it's important for us whenever we generate biological data, it's important for us to make it fair so that it can reach the potential of scientific discoverability. So for user, you can say it will, when you submit to a public repository, it will improve your visibility as a researcher, and it will increase your citations. You will get recognized for your work, and you will attract lots of collaboration based on the work. So whosoever user will see your work will definitely contact you if it's of his interest. And it again, for science, it allows the reproducibility, reliability, and traceability. And as a community, when we share this data to wider community, it will repurpose, reuse to generate more valuable information, and unnecessary generations or spending of fund will be reduced. So the fair data cycle would be, so whenever you generate data, analyze, so before publishing, you should share to a public repository. So if you are in India, you have to share to IBDC and quote the accessions of each data in your publication, so that whosoever is interested and read your publication have a identifier so that he can trace back to your data. So currently, this is the diversity of different databases here at IBDC. We have different databases based on the data type. So for nucleotide data, we have Indian Nucleotide Data Archive, Indian Nucleotide Data Archive under controlled access. We have Indian Array Data Archive for the microarray based data. We have Structural Data Archive, ISTA, for the 3D macromolecular structure. We have Phenome Repository for the crop and as well as animal phenome data. We have IMDA for the metabolomics, and IPD for proteomics. And for image data, we have the Indian Biological Images Archive. So as I have already explained that we are the support, we always offer support to the national mission projects. So here are some few projects like Genome India, INSACOG, One Day One Genome, Microbiome Initiative, pediatrics, rare diseases, and these Chana, Kusum, wheat gain. These are mission mode projects of different crops. So apart from this, we are also engaged in trainings and conferences. And as you can see, these are the three major conferences that held at IBDC. One is the International Biocuration Conference. Then we have started the annual conference of IBDC with the name of Computational Biology Conference. So this year also in December, we will be coming up again with CBC 3.0. So now coming to the platform BioNode. So I'll be introducing first to the team behind the BioNode, as it has two structures. So we have a team of 6 people. So me, the Dr. Sonia Balyan, Indu, Vibha, and Abhay are under the genomic, under the behind the development of genomic workbench, and Dr. Pawan and Mayank is handling and developing the structural biology workbench. So in case if you have some specific queries, you can always contact these the BioNode team with your question, and we will be happy to answer. So as you know, what exactly is the vision behind BioNode? As we all know that working with biological data has a steep entry barrier. You should have a command line knowledge that most tools run as a text command with dozen of flags and other things. So if you are really interested in doing some high perform high throughput analysis, you should have a HPC access or that required setup installed at your environment. Then you should also have the special knowledge to understand which tool should be run for which type of analysis, which pipeline to be followed for a question you want to understand. And further also, if you have the output, you need to understand what exactly is the output. So this is the main objective for BioNode. We want to develop a workbench that runs in your browser, which is very easy to use. And for here, BioNode offer a set of tools in which you just open the BioNode, go to the specific tool, fill the form, and enter the parameters you want to follow, and then run. So when it is run, it is running on the IBDC backend, and you will get the output based on your research query. So because we are here at we are a project of IBDC. IBDC is the National Infrastructure for Biological Data. So it's again important that we are there along with the data deposition. So in future, we will definitely want to link the data which is submitted in IBDC, and so that users can submit here, analyze here, and get the output from here. So BioNode is basically having two mode. Initially, it was only with advanced mode that require login, and it will offer a personal workspace. But considering the usability or increasing the usability, we have introduced the open mode now. And so basically, BioNode will have an open mode, which is for instant access. No login is required for that mode, and you will access the genomics and structural biology tools instantly. And it is for quick exploration and one-time analysis. So here you need not to set up any account and other thing, but the drawback of using open mode is that these results are session based. So whenever you close your window, it will not save, and so it will lost as you leave. So if you want to continue your work with persistence, and you need files for throughout your analysis, we suggest you to create an account at BioNode and use the advanced version. It will have the file management system and a user quota in which you can easily run and save your dataset, manage your project, and use the complete set of tools. So it is built for the work that needs persistence, data management, and reproducibility. So as you can see, this is the open mode, and you will find this section as it will have the open mode have a tool panel, and it will have a help section for each tool, and it will have a tool specific form. So you have to just enter your parameters and you are good to go. So we have integrated a comprehensive help section which will show you what exactly the tool is, how it will function, what exactly the input parameters needed, what are the application of these tool, what is the usage of that tool. And we also suggest some readings if you want to read, and we will provide you with the citations. So it is always advisable whenever you use any tool from here, you will please cite the authors of that tool. So in advanced mode, you will find the genomics as well as structural biology dashboards, and you will have a quota here. So for this, this is the advanced mode dashboard, which Vibha will later explain with every function. So in BioNode, we are currently offering two major modules. One is for genomics and another for structural biology. So in genomics, you will find tools for data utility, quality check and retrimming, alignment and SAM and BAM toolkit, variant calling with BCF and GATK, counting and expression of DSIC2 and EDGAR, and also Volcano, some visualization tool. And for proteomics, you will find protein similarity search with BLAST, structure validation and properties, interaction and complexes, molecular docking and molecular dynamics, etc. So So for both these sections, we are in continuous process of adding tools and all with the updation. So, so whenever you check out these modules, if you feel that some tool is missing and I want a specific pipeline or tool, you can always mail us, or you can go to our contact form and just send us the request. We will again add the tools of your choice and inform you when it's ready to use. So every tool is just, you have to pick the input, set the parameters, and then run on the cluster, and you will get the results. So coming to the genomics workbench, we have all these sections where we have different types of tools from data utilities, FASTQ and FASTA utilities, quality check, trimming, and to the GFF utilities. And we are in continuous process of adding tools. So these are the details of different tools that we have and you can use for your analysis. And some tools are under beta testing and will be released by next week. So now I invite Vibha to give you the look and feel of the BioNode genomics workbench, and you will get to know that what all sections and how you can get started with the data analysis at BioNode. So over to you, Vibha.
Thank you, Dr. Sonia. I think you can stop sharing your screen. If we take the tour of the genomics workbench at first glance. So if we see, there are, as Sonia has already discussed, that there are two modes in BioNode. One is the open access mode, another is the advanced mode. So if we see, first I'll give you a static overview of how actually the advanced mode would look like. So in the advanced mode, we'll be having on the left hand side, we can see the tool section. And in the last, we'll have the documentation and workflow of that particular domain. Suppose if you are into the genomics domain, you will see the documentation of genomics. Otherwise, if you are in structure, you will see for structure. And in the top, we can see there are three tabs that you have. That is, one is for your file upload, the second is for show uploaded files, and third is your view job sessions. And in the middle of the web form, you will see the tool form. Whatever tool, suppose there is an example given of FASTP, you can see the FASTP, and in the bottom you will have the help section with respect to the tool that we have uploaded, the form which have we uploaded. On the right hand side, we have two segments. One is for the uploaded files, the second is for the output files. What is uploaded files? Whatever files you will be uploading will be coming into this section for your reference. If in future also you require those files, you can just drag and drop and use them. And the output generated would be available in the output section. So this is the upload and output listing of all the done by a specific user. So what is file upload? How you will do? Once you click on file upload tab, that like this tab, you will click on this tab and you will land up to this kind of interface where you will have three buttons. One will be the browse from your local desktop, or you can upload using some URLs and just upload. Once you upload it, you will see your file in this upload section. Then we have the second is your file manager. How actually in your advanced mode, how your file management will be done. So in your show uploaded form tab, you will open up with such kind of UI, and there you can find that for a particular user, every user will be given 50 GB of storage space. That is only in advanced mode, because in your open mode, there will be no storage given, and there will be a restriction that you have to upload a file of 500 MBs. So there will be no session that will be maintained for a particular user. Apart from this, you have the storage file that is available that you can download. You can rename that particular file, and you can even delete that particular file if it is no longer required to manage your file system at BioNode. Next will be your session. Once your job is done, you will get the details of whether it is started, whether it is in finished state, whether it has failed. It will give you a prompt of what has been, in which stage your job is being at present. So it will give you a unique ID. So this feature is available only in advanced. I repeat that it is only in advanced. In open mode, it is just use, and then your job is like it's no more available. You don't have a space. The user doesn't have a space for that. So this would be somewhere for your, if you want to click on this job session, you will see this sessions, how many sessions and has been generated. If you click on that particular ID, the particular file would be downloaded. So before I go with this, I want to give you a look and feel of how your BioNode, where it is and how you can go over with BioNode. So landing up to ibdc.dbt.gov.in website of IBDC, under the services head, we will see that is of BioNode. Once we land up to such kind of landing page of BioNode, where we have two sections as discussed earlier, open mode and the advanced mode, where we have instance access and no login is required, and in the advanced mode we have a personal workspace and full access is required given to the user. So if we go into, suppose I go to without login mode, that is the open access mode, there are two domains that we have at present. In future, maybe other with add-on. We have for genomics, we have for structural biology. If you explore that genomics section, you will land up into such, where you on the left hand side will be different tools for text, for FASTQ and FASTA, for GFF, for quality check, for trimming, for mapping, for reading, counting, visualization, SAM tools, variant calling, and your documentation part. So this is there. So over here, suppose I choose any, I'll just give you a glimpse of how upload and workability is done, and then hands-on would be carried out by Dr. Indu. So suppose I have opened this sort file. You just choose on this. From your local system, you can just pick a file and just say from where you want to, which column you want to sort, and just run. And it will be automatically downloaded. Your results will be available in your local system. So coming on to the second part, that is your advanced system. If I click on to my advanced, it will take me to login page. I already have login done. You need a registration done before you log in. So I have already registered, and I just log in with that, and I land up to genomics dashboard. But we have an option for structure and genomics both. So over here, first I'll show you how to upload a file. Over here, you can see there are two options given for upload. You can either upload from your local system, or you can upload using a URL. Once the upload is done, you will be able to see that file on the right hand side under the genomics section. If I'm working on the genomic sections and I've uploaded on that, it will be in particular domain that will be available. So suppose I use any random file, I just drag and drop that file, it will be available, because this is requiring CSV and I was uploading some VCF file, so that is there. So this is the file, you just write down and just run. This is how your uploading works. And if you see uploading is done, now you can see how in real time you can see that storage is given, that I've already used 4 so much MBs out of 50 GBs, and these are the files that I've uploaded, when I've uploaded, and what actions I need to do in future if it is required. Then under the view job sections, you can see this is the results that I've got over the time, what I have analyzed and what are the, so it is actually giving the glimpse of my workspace, what I have done, so researchers can actually join in the login mode and manage their files in a better way. And if you need just a click away, then you can go for the open access mode and try out the utilities at BioNode. I'm handing over to Dr. Indu for a live demonstration.
Thank you, Dr. Vibha. Sorry for the delay. So here on we will start hands-on. Before starting the hands-on, I would like to introduce about it. So I would like to talk about the genomics analysis. What are the steps that are being followed and what are the things we should consider while doing the genomics analysis. So first of all, we obtained raw reads from the whole genome sequence analysis or transcriptome data, or it can be metagenomics data, and the raw reads are usually in .fastq or .fastq.gz format. Once we have the raw reads, then we need to check its quality, whether the obtained raw data is in good quality, it can be processed for further analysis or not. So for this purpose, we use FastQC tool. Once the quality check is done, after that raw reads are trimmed using different tools. One of them is Trimomatic. Once the raw reads are trimmed, then again quality check is done so that we get to know the adapters present in the raw reads or any other noise of KMR or raw read present can be removed during the trimming process. After that, we need to align the raw read with the reference genome. So reference genome is basically the available FASTA file on NCBI genome portal or ENA on the FTP website, from where we can obtain the FASTA file, and then we can align our raw data files with the reference genome. So basically, genomics composes of three aspects: genome analysis, transcriptome analysis, and metagenome analysis. In case of genome analysis, we go for the genetic and somatic variant calling. Genetic variant calling is in case of like virus, bacteria. And when we talk about the cancer patients, then there is somatic variant calling. In case of transcriptome, we go for the gene expression analysis, that is, what are the gene which has been upregulated during the study or the genes which have been down regulated during the under any condition which the researcher is observing. In terms of metagenome comprises of different aspects. The scientist may be interested in the gut microbiome, or it can be about the microbial diversity in the air, soil, water, agricultural soil, or any kind of environment which is relevant to the study of a researcher or scientist. So when we talk about the QC, so here you can see the screenshot of FastQC analysis file. There are 9 parameters which are being assessed during the FastQC analysis, and here you can see there are some of the parameters which are showing green button, others are in orange, and some are in red. Green buttons mean that these parameters have been passed by the data. However, the orange means it is a warning. You can still consider these parameters. However, the parameters which are in red, that means your raw data has failed in these parameters and you need to improve these two parameters by using trimming. So after quality check, we go for trimming process, where there are different tools present like FastP, Trimomatic, Pore Chop, Trim Galore, Adapter Removal, Cut Adapt. Here some of the tools are specific for some kind of data, like Pore Chop is specific for the nanopore data. Trim Galore tool is used when you have methylome data. Here on the right side, you can see the report of trimming when we use FastP tool. So if you see, there are two sections, before filtering and after filtering. So there is clear indication that there are changes in the nucleotide bases present in the raw data file and the trimmed file. So FastP is one of the tool which actually give you a very clear visual report, that so that you can understand what are the difference between the raw reads and the trimmed one reads. Once trimming is done, then we need to carry out the alignment to a reference genome. This alignment can be done by BOTI2, BWA, Minimap, STAR, SEG align, top head 2. So it depends on the type of data, whether it is a whole genome data or it is a transcriptomic data. Based on that, you decide the alignment tool. So on the right side, you can see that the reads which are aligned to the reference genome, they are being shown in this screenshot. Once we have obtained the alignment file, after that we need to call the variants. Variants means once again we will align this aligned file against the reference genome, and will check out whether there is any changes in the nucleotides against the reference genome. So whatever variants we observe during the variant calling process, they are known as single nucleotide polymorphism. These SNPs can be insertion, deletion, synonymous variants or non-synonymous variants. So there are different tools. These tools are BCF tools, Freeways, GATK, Deep Variant. These are the tools which are used for variant calling, and currently we are using VCF tools MPileup for variant calling. Once the variant calling is done, then we need to define the gene, because the file which we obtain after variant calling, there is no definition or annotation to the nucleotide position, whether it belongs to which part of the genome and which gene or protein. So for that we need to carry out annotation, basically naming of that particular nucleotide. So for this purpose there are two tools available, SNPF and ANNOVAR. So this is the brief introduction about the overall pipeline or the steps which we will be carrying out right now. So let's go with the open mode. So here there are different functionalities available in the genomics part. These are first tab is about the editing of text file or CSV file. For example, if you want to cut any column from any CSV, then you need to select a CSV of your interest, and then for example you just insert column number 4 and run it. You will get the result auto download. You can go and check in your download section the output file. So here you can see the column which we have inserted in that tab is present in the output file. Next is split dataset. Sometimes what happens, there are files which we need to split into two sections because of its larger size or because of other analysis requirements. So let's say we need 10,000 or 1 lakh lines, whatever is our requirement, we will do that and run it. So you will get the result file in your downloads. You can open out, you will check, there will be segregated files according to your ask. Then there is general feature format files in which all the details of genome is present. So sometimes what happens, the GFF file is too long. So you want to know how many particular attributes are present for a specific gene. So you can go to this feature, filter GFF data by feature value, and then you will get the result accordingly. So if you see, we will receive the results only according to the what we have entered in our tab. Next, we will go and check the QC of the file. Here we will go for single end. So one FASTQ file we will take and run it. So when we do the quality check, then QC, there will be output file generated. In case of QC, two files will be generated, HTML and a zip file. So here, which is easy to understand is HTML file, which I have referred earlier while we talked about the quality check parameters. So here, if you see, in this file, 4 parameters have failed for this raw data and 4 parameters have passed for this. 3 parameters have passed for this file and 3 parameters are showing warning sign. So how will you decide whether this raw data is good or not? So based on the consensus of this failed and passed parameter, the user can decide whether they want to go ahead with this data or not. Next, once we do the quality check, then we can go for trimming. For trimming, we will again go for the single end file. Here there are different parameters according to the need of the user. You can change these parameters and then run this tool. The FastP, if you check out, there will be a folder generated for FastP. Here you can see HTML, JSON and a zip file is generated. In this result, you refer to the HTML file generated. You can check what is the condition of file before filtering and after filtering and how trimming is doing good for your file. Once you obtain the trimmed file, then once again you need to do QC. So here what we will do, we will go for the trimmed FASTQ file, not the earlier file. Once again, after quality check, you can go for alignment. But before alignment, we need to create the index file for reference genome. So here we will use the build genome index. Here you upload a FASTA file so that its index can be generated. Here we will use BWA tool and run it. Once it is generated, you can see there is file download is there. You can download the result, and once it is downloaded, then you can go for alignment. Here you need to choose the zip file which is just now generated, that is the index of genome. This file is present in the download section. You upload it here and then Next is input read one. So you will upload the input file, that is .fastq file, and then run. So here you obtain a BAM file, that is binary alignment map file. Once you obtain this, then you need to mark the duplicates in that file. So here is the option in SAM tools. You go to BAM to mark dup. Here you need a BAM file. So we can choose the file which has been just generated. And then you run it. Then you will obtain the mark dup BAM. Here what we are doing, we are removing the duplicate nucleotide polymorphism variants. Once you have removed the duplicates, then we go for variant calling using BCF tools. So here you can give the name of the sample as per your requirement, and you can change the ploidy of the organism as per your need. Then you can upload the FASTA reference file, and then finally you can upload the BAM file and then run, so that you will get the variant call results. Here you can see the variant call results in this TSV file. Since the file was very small, that's why there is only one SNP reported in this file. So this is the overall workflow for the genome analysis. Ahead of this is annotation step for which will be added in the upcoming version of BioNode. So this is all about the hands-on of BioNode analysis. Now I request Dr. Pawan to take over and further discuss about the structural analysis.
Am I audible?
Yes, you are audible.
So thank you so much for joining this session, and I will introduce the structure biology dashboard that we have in the BioNode functionality, and under the same line as discussed previously for this genomics analysis module, we have different set of tools for to analyze the different structure data, like starting with the protein similarity search, structure validation, functionality, structure analysis, like distance-based analysis, structure selection, mutation in the protein structure, calculation of the electrostatic surface, or the different type of protein-protein interactions or protein ligand interactions, doing the molecular docking, and then structure superposition. And if you have the MD simulation trajectory from the Ember packet, you can do the MD analysis also. So what we have done, we have mapped the Indian Structural Data Archive, which is the major hub portal for that have the experimental and AlphaFold entries from the different organisms and then protein types. You can explore the Indian Structural Data Archive for more detail, like you can see we have total experimental structures which is released in the open space. This is the computational structures coming from the AlphaFold model structures. We are also creating this Indian structural data PDB IDs to highlight how many different IDs in this in which organisms type they are populated. Then every week we populate this update this database by fetching the records from the WPDB. So we have the updated numbers and so on. You have you can search different type of query and then get the structure like you will get different type of options to filter the query. You will get the major search result in the card form, and then you can use the different left side or the right side filters to further define your query. If you click over the any structure query ID, you will get the summary information, all the details associated with particular PDB ID. Here is the download section. There you can download the different file format, the structure file, data files, as well as the model validation files. Now, in some case, if particular PDB ID entries do not have particular such files, then you will see this option is not highlighted in the download link. So, coming back to this. So you can download all the related PDB entries from the Indian Structural Data Archive, push to the Indian this BioNode functionality, and do your structural biology analysis. So without taking the time, now we can directly move to the how we can perform different type of tasks using this structural module, which is there in the BioNode. So the plan is to take the protein sequence, do the structure summary analysis, then superimpose the structure, do the ligand interactions, then if possible, means if you want interested, you can do this residue interactions, do all sort of upload proteins. Then this distance analysis, mutate the protein and back do the interactions analysis. Now we will do the hands-on session directly over this BioNode structural modules. So if you have already login, you can do jump to your dashboard, click over the structure modules, and you will get the dashboard of the structure. So here all the functionality is same. Here you can upload all your data from this three different mechanisms like either from the local file, data from the URL, or drag and drop functionality. And when you upload the data in particular module, you will it will by default selected in particular module type. Like as I am working in the structure module, all the data will be uploaded in the structure module. In the same way, you can check the file manager to manage all the files like structure files, genomic files. You can do the renaming, downloading, or the delete of the files, both from the upload files or from the output files. Now let's do some structure summary analysis. I have a ID. Just click on it. You can do this maybe. Maybe some information is going. So what we can do, we can do the protein blast analysis. So we will pick some let's say 1LF2. You can do the copy of the sequence, either paste, or you have a functionality to drag and drop, submit, and you can visualize the structure. So, like now you are seeing this all the BLAST output results. If you click over the any list, it will show the top hit, all the score metrics, and then when you click over this first entry, you will get the BLAST result with the sequence output. All the metrics or the output form you can download from this as a CSV or different as a PNG or the JPEG. All the score metrics you can check at a different level. Like you will see all the sequence alignment, what the BLAST is producing, and in a one go. Let's say after doing this BLAST phase, I want to do this structure ID summary or the structure superimposition. So for that, just move to the structure analysis tool, open this protein superimposition, upload two files, one for the reference file. Let's say I am doing this reference file is my which provide the chain, and then second attachment as a target protein, and then chain information. Then it's important to how you want to superimpose using this all C alpha atoms, all the C alpha atoms in particular range, or all heavy atoms. Let's move to the standard all C alpha range, execute, and it will generate your results. You can download, or you can see the downloaded structure is also in your output region. When you click on it, you will see the superimposed structure in your NGL viewer, or you can download this download as a result in the download section, and then open from the downloads. So you can see because 7 max has a 2 chain, A chain and B chain. This is the B chain from the 7 max, and this A chain is completely aligned from the 1 model, 0 model, and then 1 model. Both chain are models, and you can see all the superimposed structure in one place. Like by now, you can do, let's say you want to perform the mutation analysis. For that, you just attach your PDB ID and provide the string which has the chain information, position information, as well as mutated residue information. Like this is the 6LU7 from the SARS-CoV protein, and we know 145 cysteine is very important for this functionality. We will try to mutate that residue. So provide the chain information, then 145 residue, then some, let's say, arginine. It will mutate the original PDB, generate the PDB for one more output PDB, which has the mutated structures that you can see in the output files, and you can access this output files. Here you can download this PDB files in your download area. And here is the protein. Now, if we check this 145 residue already shown, you can see now this residue is arginine 145 and near the binding site region. So that's how you can change the protein mutation, do the mutation, and then do the interaction analysis as well. So for that, go back to your structure dashboard, then upload your protein ligand interactions, attach the 7 max, or we can try some other, let's say 1LF2. So it will ask for the bound ligand ID, provide that. In the next window, it will open the interaction map. So it will show two different levels. One is the type of interactions and then feature type. So if you only interested in the particular type of interactions, you can visualize, you can change the structure and then save in your area. Or if you want to see the, let's say only the aromatic interactions, then you can further refine your, click over this button and then check the type of interaction it is making with the local. And then if you hover over this particular interaction, you will see the distance. Now the same thing, it is also listed in the table, and here you can further see the type of interaction your ligand molecule is making with the surrounding protein residue and type of interaction it is making. So this functionality gives you the real glimpse of how the interactions from the ligand is projecting towards the ligand, protein surrounding residue sites, and type of interaction it is making or engaging with the ligand. So now I am interested to have a protein ligand interactions after mutating my residue. So I will do the mutation like this. This is a acid proteases, and for acid protease residue, aspartic residue to protein is very important for because it's from the catalytic diet. So we will check or change the this residue number. So with the some residue like the lysine. And it will push the result in the output directory. Yes. So we can download this. Now, here is the mutated ID that we will download. And again check. So 1LF2 will be here. Six. This will be right. Here's the structure. You can see there is a two spartate residue projection. One is the ASP34, which is the part of the acid diet, and here is the ASP214. But now I have mutated the ASP214 to the arginine, and this is the local region of the binding residue, and now this residue is mutated. What you can do the further electrostatic analysis to see how when we mutate the residue, how the electrostatic surface changes. So for that, you can move to the electrostatic surface, attach your protein. Like if you want to attach the mutated protein, attach the mutated protein. Then this, select the first force field, and then define the pH level. Now it will calculate the electrostatic surface using this APBS program. First, this program will calculate the PDB PQR file, and then using this PQR file, APBS program will generate the your TX file, which is your electrostatic files. So you can separately download your files, or you can see the visualization over the NGL viewer. So first NGL viewer will load the structure of your this protease, then followed by it will load the electrostatic surface. Same thing you can download separately from this. Now, what I will do, I will load the PQR file. First, load the PQR file. Here is your PQR file. Then load the TX file. Oh, because you're still in download mode. Still downloading. Still downloading. It will take some time. Size is around 54.7 MB. And you can see here it is showing as a part. Once it's completed, it will rename as an original file. Okay, we will check this functionality when it's completed. We can move to some other functionality, like if we want to analyze the buried surface area. That means the area which is buried between two units. We can attach the two file which has two units. Then provide the radius. Radius is important by default. Is adjacent radius or the water radius is has the port size of the 1.4, which is by default you can use. Or if you have some other port size, you can put your port size values and it will calculate the have this two chain buried area, and you will get the result in the angstrom. In the same way, you can check the contact map, like if you have the CIF file, the other type of file, the protein structure file, you can attach and get the your contact map. So now here we have already checked this instructions. There are now move to the like very precisely if you want to do the atom in this distance calculation. For that, we have functionality like you can calculate atom distance, you can calculate the residue distance, or you can calculate the centroid distance. Let's start with the atom distance. So for that, just attach your PDB file, provide the specific coordinate like chain, then residue number, then atom level type, then again for the second coordinate, and then coordinate 136, let's say again residue number, and then level. So it will calculate the distance between two. The same thing you can calculate with the residue distance. For that, you do not have to provide the atom level information, just provide the chain as well as residue information. In case of centroid will focus on the chain information, reference residue information, as well as the cutoff to select the surrounding residue and calculate the then do the centroid calculation for the both selection, and then calculate the centroid distance. So it will be very much important in case of doing the domain analysis, protein unit analysis. It is important in that case. One more functionality we have, like we want to manipulate our protein structure. So let's say we have the protein ID. So it will provide you the number of models. In case of, let's say, NMR structure, it might have more than one model. So it will provide the selection because it's only have the one model. So by default, it's not editable. Here you can provide your chain information which you want to means only extract. So just click on it and you can see now you have the download results that you can visualize. So what we have done, we not only provided the analysis module, we have also added the visualization so that in the same place you can analyze as well as visualize the both things in one go. So this is the, now we have the one more section like this uh, structure ensemble analysis. My colleague Mang will demonstrate how you can utilize, given the protein trajectory, you can upload and then analyze different functionality of the protein trajectory analysis. Over to me.
Good afternoon, all. Am I audible?
Yes, Mayank, you are audible.
Right. So today we will start with the structure ensemble analysis. For that, we are starting with RMSE calculation, which for which we need we are including AMBER trajectory files for these calculations. So we can attach both the file, the NC file for the trajectory file, and for the topology file, we have PRM top file format. So when we submit this, it will provide some information for the files attached, like the number of atoms which are present in this, number of molecules, number of residues, number of solvents, and the number of frames. So we have to provide the starting frame with which we'll be doing the analysis. We will start with frame 1 and end with frame 501. So across the whole file, we will provide a stride, that is the number of frames we'll be skipping. And we'll do, let's say we'll do every other frame. And the type of file will be C alpha atom file, and we can provide some sort of file name which will be generated. After we click submit, we have a graph for the distance fluctuation, the distances that the molecules, the average distance between frames that the molecules have gone through. So we can change this plot by changing the title. Let's say it is my title. We can give different alternative labels for the x-axis, anything other than simulation frame, or for the y-axis. We can even move the shift the range, the x range and the y range after the fact, after it has been provided. Let's say we want to do from 50 to 150, the x-axis. We will update it, and this will update the graph on the fly, and then we can save this this updated PNG so that we have a graph that can be used ready. Anyway. Apart from this, there is a pairwise RMSE. Of course, we know this is done for one-to-one mapping. It creates a heat map. Again, we have to go through the same process. Okay. That produces a heat map. It basically tells us which are the lowest mapping section versus the highest. And there's some other to calculate the fluctuations between the right. So this will give us the average fluctuations between the C alpha atoms in the provided file, right? And same, it's the same. We can we can modify the x-axis, the y-axis, the title, the other fields, so that we have a readily available image file that can be downloaded and used anywhere. Then there is residue distance interaction. I'll show this one. And we can provide a ranged mask to let's say we start from 1 to 10. So this is these are the fluctuations which are provided, which are available between from 1 residue 1 between residue 1 and residue 10 over all the frames. Right. And there is atom distance, which is just the other version of the residue distance between two atoms rather than between two residues. Then we have Ramachandran analysis. Let's say we choose aspartic acid as our example. This is the Ramachandran plot, and it too can be modified, like the title, the x-axis label, the y-axis label, and then it can be saved as a PNG to use. Then there is other modules. Let me go to secondary structure analysis. Provide the same files. So this will actually, I think, this has provided us with a different graph. It too can be modified and it can be saved. Right. So I'll pass this back to Dr. Pawan.
Thank you, ma'am. The whole idea is to provide that detailed analysis either from the single structure, or you have multiple conformation, or from the trajectory you can analyze those also. So in the same scope, because we have n number of tools, n number of analysis functionality, and we will try to update this functionality with new advancements, new approach, new tools which are coming up, or with the new version of the tool, so that we can provide all sort of analysis in one go, in one platform, either from the genomics perspective, either from the your structure perspective. So what we can say, so in the coming time, we will release more detailed functionalities, more improved functionalities. Like in the genomic expansion, we can have a workflow builder, like you can connect all the analysis module in one go and do the single workflow analysis to perform any sort of analysis. You can do the single cell analysis, metagenomics related analysis, population genetics like the Chivas or some other things, and then your expanded reference collections. So in the structure part of, there are many things we are going to add in the coming release. In the present release it's 1.3, but in the coming release we will add functionality like the GBSA analysis, or doing the virtual screening using the different talking programs. You can have a file converter, different structural file converter from one to other, and then so on. So these are the projection we are going to proceed in the and add in the coming time, and because it's the time to add some sort of AI, so that you can more interactively interact with the portals. We will do the all sort of analysis, patching work, so that we can provide all the AI assistant at the portal level. with this, I want to thank IBDC team, our head, this coordinator, Professor K. Sahu, the Executive Director, RCB, our co-PI, Dr. Devasis Mohanty, Director, NI, and then PI, Dr. Dinesh Gupta, ICGB India, Professor Deepak Nair, RCB India, Hyderabad, and then our head, Dr. Sasank Sekar, IBDC. And then along with that, I also acknowledge the Secretary, Dr. Rajesh Gokhale, Secretary DBT, then former Secretary Dr. Renu Sarup, then former Executive Director RCB Professor Sudhanshu Gati, then Dr. Sucheta Nivane, Advisor DBT, then Saurabh Pragwanshi, former Lead IBDC, Dr. Richi Matan, Scientist DBT, and then Lucas team, Lucas as well as System Administration team, IT RCB, Dr. Mr. Naveen Kumar. I also acknowledge the founding institute for this. Now we can move to the next session of the. If you have any question, then we can move on it.